Good evening, my brother. How you doing, man?
Fine, thank you, and thanks for that impromptu. I know it was impromptu and so on, but thank you for that interview this morning.
You're welcome, man.
All right, I'm not hearing you clearly.
Maybe I have to step forward, speak
All
a
right,
bit.
okay, cool. That sounds good. James, let's just get right into it.
Sure.
You're often described as an attorney and a social and political activist. How do you describe?
I define myself in terms of family first. In terms of being a father, son. But I also define myself as being a person in generally that tries to make something happen. A go-getter is what I've been called a lot by persons who are close to me. That they like the fact that I don't seem to let anything deter me. I just see my dream, and I think of one pastor said, James, there's a story for you in the Bible. It's Joseph. They called me Joseph because they said I was a dream chaser. So I've heard a lot of names.
A dream
You know,
chaser?
dream chaser, yeah. Called Joseph a lot by pastors when they're prophesying. So you got the spirit of Joseph. You're gonna open up doors for your family and that kind of thing. So I come from a Christian background. My father's a pastor, so
Oh, really? You're a PK?
yeah, I'm PK, man.
All right, James. Okay. Um, I'm going to bring you back on journeys to dive into that. Today is half hour we have, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that thought that just came to my mind about your upbringing. But what is the biggest misconception people have about you before they get to know you?
Oh, one is that James Bond is arrogant. Persons say that I'm arrogant, that I'm not approachable. Um, that's the first thing because this for the PP camp mostly, and they be like, you come across because I put forward my views very strongly. I'm going to put forward of him, I'm going to put forward very strongly, and you have to really convince me. I don't mind saying I'm wrong. I don't mind saying sorry, but you have to convince me. I listen to logic, I listen to reasoning. So I get a lot. You're young and arrogant. You're young and pompous. That is farthest from the truth.
You must have gotten real accustomed to this, and because you see you're smiling as you're saying it, you take it for the nonsense it actually is. Then.
I know who I am. The thing is, I know who I am. If persons know me. The least thing about me is arrogance. That's the least.
Yeah, I had that experience this morning chatting with you. At age 31, James, you were the youngest nominee to run as a potential party candidate for the 2011 elections. Why did you accept it? And how did you feel being in an arena with others older and perhaps more experienced than you?
I accepted it because I wanted to show people that young people could actually be in the contenders in the highest um, political arenas. And the other thing to accept because of the vision of Winston Shreveport Murray. Being in the same arena with Carl Greenwich, Bassett Williams, Faith Harding, this now deceased, and David Granger gave me so much insight. We were the complete team. I felt deep in my mind that we were the total unit. If we could have, and it was discussed amongst us, amongst persons that, you know what, this is the complete unit in terms of Faith stands for education,
Hmm.
Basil, Carl Finance, David Security, and James Bond Youth. I mean, it doesn't get any better, So we had when we came to debates, persons got a total package of what the PNC was going to offer to these particular um, aspects, stratospheres of society. And we appeal to the primaries, appeal to the entire Guyana. I mean, persons were packing rooms, packing school halls just to hear us speak, just to see us together. And I developed a very close relationship with all of them, a very close relationship with David, mostly because he and I went on almost every trip we traveled together sometimes. And so that it was a very, 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 very good experience. I got to know David, and a lot of things that people say about David, I tell them like yesterday, Supriya was saying David is not a man for small talk. And all. I said, I was saying, I got a video. I said, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know David that good. David is witty, excellent with small talk. You sit down with David Granger for 5 minutes, he started teasing you and tantalizing you. So, so persons have a misconception about David.
Well, I'm glad you brought him up because he is the leading contender. If things go according to what I think is going to happen or I would like to see happen, he's going to be the next president of Guyana. Now,
Yeah.
during your period with politics or your experience with politics, or you have been exposed to all kinds of leaders,
Yeah.
a wide spectrum. What is it about David Granger? Can you tell us now here on CWS as it is that?
Right off the bat.
Yeah, go ahead.
David is the most honest, humble, hard-working, dedicated person there is in politics right now. There's no person in politics that visits the amount of communities that David visits. There's no person that has the character and the integrity to speak to any particular issue, to speak to any particular subject, to speak to any particular challenge than David Granger. In terms of his wealth of experience in public service, there's none, bar none. He has a medal of service. He's distinguished. He's a distinguished intellectual. He brings to bear what I call a servant leader quality. The only problem David has and will have is surrounding himself with people he could trust and people who could execute his vision. That is the only problem David has, if there will be such a problem. But he is undoubtedly the most fitting person right now to become president of Guyana.
If you had his undivided attention, his ear, and you had three things to advise him coming up to this election, what are the three things you will tell him?
I already did. I have his here. I spoke about two things, not three, two. I says one, we need more youth involvement. I emailed him. I said, Dave, look, we can't have a situation whereby young people are just doing certain stuff on the campaign. You got to put young people in strategic elements, committees of the campaign, so that young people make decisions. The second thing I talked to him about was the involvement of civic society, the involvement of persons who want to volunteer. Figures such as Norman Brown, Christopher Ram, figures such as Dr. Chetty Jagan Jr. We have to embrace everybody. This campaign, it can't be just APNU AFC. And we have reached out to civil society, we reached out to the LGBT community, we've reached out to women, we've reached out to businesses, we've reached out to everyone. And it's just to find a room, a fitting room, where we could tailor the various views and ideas that these groups offer. So those are the two things I spoke to them about. And ideas that these groups offer. So those are the two things I spoke to them about.
Before we continue, there seems to be like sort of a flashing going on your screen. Do you have any idea what that is? Is there a light blinking anywhere around?
It may be the palm trees, the coconut tree.
No, man. This morning it wasn't there. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of distracting.
Oh. It got really cool because the reason, just the only thing that's flashing across the screen is the tree. Because we're in the
All right, let's continue. Perhaps it will go away. Anyway, so let's get back into it. Back in 2011, what was your first reaction or immediate reaction when you learned about the nomination?
Well, I was happy. I was like, wow, this is not what I expected. I'm never a person who saw myself parachuting in. And it's always been my life. You know, I work my way up. I work my way to get things. I was never gifted with anything in life. And I love that aspect about me, that everything I had, I could tell people I worked for it. I'm not hand to mouth. The people can't bribe me. I can't be bought. My vote, my conscience, my will can't be bought. So I was like, oh, this is from the top now. I don't do this. You know, I would rather that I was probably with the party for 10, 15 years and then got a nomination. It happened. I just joined the party, you know. When I got a nomination, I was not long joined the party.
And so what did you learn about yourself during that experience, during that time?
Public speaking. I always thought that I was good at public speaking. I always thought that, you know what, you give me any topic I could, because I like to read, and I try to keep myself a bit informed, if not too informed. So I thought, I had this covered. And the first meeting was in Essequibo,
Uh-huh.
and Queenstown, Essequibo. And when the format and the points that others raised, I had my platforms and everything, basic reading and that kind of thing. And I'm like, shucks. You can't go here without a game, man. You can't really rely on, you could remember your stuff and you could talk off your head. You just need your bullet points. You just need to do your research and then you come hitting it down. So I had to go deep down because David came with a lot of history. Carl, of course, very technical. So those two were the only two persons I would actually, like say, those are my contenders, so to speak.
Your contenders. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the other two.
And that time, that experience, what did it actually teach you about this man who would be President, David Granger, at that time?
Well, for one, I realized David was disciplined. David was disciplined. You could have saw him in terms of how he prepared for the debates, and he had the support. He had the support of the ordinary PNCR members. And that was shocking because he wasn't such a party man as Basil was. And we had always felt that Basil would have been able to got that kind of support from the base. But they kind of, after that first meeting, some person, you could see that they were already saying like David was more of the lot. I didn't expect to win, but I blew them away in them debates. I blew them away.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, after that Queenstown meeting, if you ask anybody, I had Miss Amna Ali jumping out of her seat when I finished. She was like, "Yes!" And she's the moderator.
So, well, we are glad you're still in the arena, James.
Yeah, man.
This statement here, it is time for Guyana. Why is it time for Guyana?
Guyana's been through so much, man. I mean, if you look at Guyana in terms of a woman, let's look at her as a woman. She's worked to put her children through school.
Mm-hmm.
She's been a diligent housewife, and she's done everything for her husband. And now she has the opportunity to become a businesswoman, become a doctor, become a lawyer. You can't now tell her to focus on the kids. You can't now tell her, you got to focus on the husband. It's her time. And I think Guyana since 53. We've been through so much, and I believe it is time for good things to happen to Guyana. You gotta win a round. You got to win a round.
Talking about good things happening to Guyana, I asked this question before the last guest about International Women's Day on the 8th of March. What are your views as a young Guyanese man about women's place in our society?
Right up there, I believe women are our greatest asset in terms of human capacity. I think women's rights, women's issues, and more so the empowerment of women should be our number one priority in this millennium. As the population and as our resources shrink, we have to draw on the various strengths in our society. And I believe women are that well we could draw from in terms of the nation, the sustenance of the nation. Of course, as you know, there are challenges. I mean, most of the heads, and I wanted to raise this point this morning when I spoke to you, is that most of the heads of our commissions and various institutions, they are men. And some of these men come out of the old boys club kind of mentality that, this is always a male-dominated field, a male-dominated position. So there's not that much sympathy or that much recognition of the importance of women and where women should be. And I think that is one of the greatest challenges we will have in this country, because most of the hedge hedge industries, the hedge jobs, the hedge positions in Ghana. They're run by men. And I think we need to advocate that the best woman, best man, be there for the job. And you can't have the best woman if you don't give them the tools to empower them and equip them.
I like that. I love that statement. James, May 11th, it's around the corner. Elections.
Yes, sir.
What message do you personally have for the youth of Guyana?
Get out and vote.
Can't be more succinct than that, right?
Get out and vote.
And why are you so personally committed to change and transformation in Guyana?
I love her, man. I love Guyana. I love Guyana.
Oh, the boy.
She's everything. I mean, when you bring tears to anybody's eyes. And where I grew up, driving along that coastline and getting that fresh air, that seawall breeze, and going home, and you got a couple of water, you could go play football, and you probably could go jump in a pond. I'm talking when I was young, huh?
Yes.
I'm talking when I was young. I ain't jumping in no ponds now. And then you probably later on your mom cooks you some pumpkin and rice, roti.
All right, James, with the palm tree and the sunlight and the breeze, the obvious cool breeze, and now you're telling us about pumpkin. Remember, some of us are in the diaspora and in some very cold regions of the diaspora. All right, so I'm going to shift. I'm just going to shift.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for cutting me off.
Just going to shift.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I want to tap into something. Go down your timeline a little. In 2011, Brigadier Edward Collins and you were shot at a peaceful march by the Guyana police. Where were you injured, and why do you believe they shot you?
Before you go there, let me tell. Before you go there, let me tell your viewers, Brigadier Collins, wherever he said, if there are few men I would follow, and if he said James go run up the hill, I go running up the hill. Just let's get out of the way. Brigadier Collins is a true leader. He's a gem. Ghana, we don't use people like Brigadier Edward Collins. I mean, anyways, the question you're asking, why I was shot about the back, the neck, and the leg. I know the police them that shoot me, man. Todd and them jokers, man. And but I forgive them. Watson them, I forgive them.
You know who shot you?
I know who shot me, man. I know them. And I forgive them. That's why I did not press on with the trial. We decided, we're gonna forgive them because they know not what they do. They were just following instructions. They weren't the people that if it were up to them, they wouldn't have done it. They had instructions to shoot us. So we forgive them. We love them still. Mm-hmm. That was sick.
One of the most recurring news in Guyana today, it seems, and in cyberspace, is the murder of Courtney Crum Ewing.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on this heinous crime, James?
I just want to get justice for Courtney, and for the reasons I said this morning. I just want to get justice for him. I don't want there to be a revenge killing. I don't want there to be any more murders. I just want the persons who pulled that trigger, the persons who drove that getaway car or the cars or whoever, to pay the ultimate penalty for what they did. That's all I want. That's all I want.
And why do you think he was so determined to speak out in spite of the potential danger he knew lurks around?
Courtney was possessed. I told his mom and his dad, his stepdad, I said, I operate at level 5. In terms of, and people say I'm very hyper, I'm energetic, and I'm at 5. The average person probably a 2 or 3. Courtney was a 10.
Wow.
Yeah, Courtney was a 10. Courtney was brimming with enthusiasm. And it was this volcanic energy that you couldn't cap it. I don't know how to explain it, but something happened with Courtney. Something triggered him. And from the history that we had, when he came out and he was, really, really against the PVP, and, really, really against, it was seen he was anti-Indian or, you know, it was racist, but it wasn't that. You see, when you have a system, let me explain something to Guyanese, the persons, it was, when you have a system where the persons who dominated are of one ethnic group, and then you have the minorities, and most of the acts of discrimination, the acts of violence are perpetrated in those organizations, even though they might not be by the different ethnic, by the dominant ethnic group, even though that the minority still blames the majority ethnic group for the discrimination and the violence and whatever hurts they face. So when Courtney was attacking Indians, he wasn't really attacking Indians per se, or an Indian person per se. He was attacking a system in which it appears as though a majority ethnic group was overriding the laws of the land so that they could, and they were overriding the laws of the land and causing harm or undue pressure on a minority, on the minority ethnic groups. And that was what possessed Courtney.
James, I'm curious, because I'm hearing the various chatter in the different media outlets. Courtney was obviously murdered, shot several times.
Murdered in cold blood by some dog.
And I'm wondering what or who could have pulled the trigger. And I want to give you three points of view. Was the fact that he was protesting outside of the AG's office, was the fact that he was encouraging people to vote for the coalition, was the fact that he was a black male? Which of those you believe, and I may have missed one, but which of those you believe pulled the trigger?
Yeah, you gave 4 this morning. The thing is, I believe, as I said before, I don't believe it was the protest actually AG Chambers, because he had finished that. And he finished that, and he was arrested wrongfully. So I would rule that one out. But speaking out for the coalition, I would rule that out because he was doing that before. He was doing that all the time. And being a black male, I rule that out too. What I do believe, it may be a culmination of all 3 factors, but you have to understand this. There are persons in the PP Civic who made Courtney Crumb Ewing a target. And they would have sent a message, directly or indirectly, that it was okay to do harm, physical harm, to opposition, persons who talk against the government, persons supported the coalition. So when those persons, I believe those persons that killed him were the security detail of a PPP person. They saw him there and they seized the opportunity. That's what happened. That is my explanation.
So you believe the victim could have been anyone?
Yeah. I mean, if I were in that dark road there, if I were in that dark road in Diamond and they saw me there, they would have, any person that they would have caught there, they would have done it. You know, the Courtney was just in their scope, so to speak, at the time when they probably just come from bringing him down from some charged up meeting. You know, they were talking about these people, this and these people that. So all of that fed into the rage at the moment. Say, hey, what we got one here? You know, I believe it was something like that.
James, and I'm going to appeal to you as a youth leader, someone who's intimately involved with the youth of Guyana. If you were in an auditorium filled with young people, many of them are vying for some form of revenge and, you know, race-baited revenge. What would you be telling them?
I lost you there for a minute there. You know, it went silent.
All right. Okay. Let me start over again. If you were in an auditorium filled with young people, some of them are angry and want revenge and want to go out and hurt somebody. What would you be telling them?
I'd be telling them that better sense prevail. I'd be saying, you know what? It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel that you want to do back what was done to Court. But I would tell them this here. The most powerful struggle has been a non-violent struggle. And it's something I believed in, something I still believe in and hold dear. That we could change and implement change without violence, without the resort of violence. And it is very important that we believe that. Why? Because Guyana cannot go down the road of the 60s, where we had the continuous bloodshed, the back and forth. We cannot afford to lose lives. Yes, there's a time for everything, but I don't believe Ghana, in her history right now, could afford to have a civil war, to have a situation whereby our young people are involved in killing and in murder. It's time to build this country. It's time to start pulling together and working together. We need to get rid of the system, and this is very important. We need to get rid of the system that allows these kind of incidents to happen, the murders and various killings and the incompetence in the Ghana police force. We need to get rid of the system that caused that to happen. So whatever you do, it's not going to kill an innocent person. It is getting rid of the system that encourages the killing of innocent people. And doing everything that's necessary to get rid of that system.
Courtney, if you had the opportunity, and I asked you this question this morning, but this is a different audience perhaps. If you had the opportunity to speak with late LFS Barnum, Dr. Chetty Jagan, and Dr. Walter Rodney, and former President Barrett Jackdio, one question per person will you ask them?
Well, for LFS, I'll be two questions because they're two very important issues for me. The one that concerns the rigging of the elections. I would say, Leonard Forbes Sampson Barnum, why didn't you correct the flaws of the electoral system to allow a free and democratic electoral process to obtain and maintain in Guyana? The second thing is, the vision that you had was magnificent. There was no other Caribbean leader with your vision. Was the vision rushed? Should we have given the vision some time to take hold and to have that buy-in from all sectors and all players at the time, world players as well, not just Guyanese. I'm thinking about the US and whoever else. But Dr. Chetty Jagan, I would ask him, why did he allow the racist machinery of his party to take hold in the beginning? The use of the word apanja, the use of the word to encourage Indians to vote for Indians. Why did he encourage it in his party? Him not being a racist himself. For Dr. Walter Rodney, I would ask him, why didn't you you saw what in the violent revolutions that took place in other countries in 1979? Yes, some were successful, but why did you embrace the removal of the PNC regime at that time? Why do you embrace the belief that it had to be removed by violent means? With Dr. Barrett Jackdio, I would ask him, why is it that ministers who just living on a salary are able to become so rich? Those are my 4 questions.
Thank you, sir. James, what are people surprised, you believe most people are surprised to know about you when they get to know you?
That I'm the coolest person on earth. Yeah, some young people, they see me on TV and they see me in my apartment, they see me in my suits and everything. And when they come work for me, they love working for me. Right now we have a chat on on our WhatsApp. It's like hundreds of messages. Everybody's like coming in and having fun. I take them out, I make sure we have fun. We work, we have fun, we had pizza. We went to do the road trip in Linden yesterday. So young people, when they come in to get to know me, they said, shucks, I didn't know you were so cool, so down to earth, and so that's surprising for a lot of people.
In the last minute, my brother, since elections is coming up, I give you an opportunity, make your pitch to the diaspora and all our other listeners.
The diaspora, especially Ghana, needs you. Region 11 is probably the last region of Guyana, but you're actually the most important in more ways than one. We depend on the diaspora. We don't just need handouts. We just don't need your US, UK, Canadian knowledge. We need input. I mean, and you must be patient with us. We need a level of patience. I know things are not happening at the pace that the diaspora wants, but I believe the diaspora need to be patient with the leadership here. Need to find ingenious ways of assimilating themselves into the leadership, because most time you're going to have that pushback from the locals, because they're going to say, oh, you're not here, but you need to be patient. You need to let them understand you're actually here. You have enough to lose just as us, not because we're living over there. We love our country just as much as you. So for the diaspora, I would ask, we don't really expect you to just give us handouts. We need your input. We need your intellectual capacity to build Guyana, move us forward. For the locals, I would say, something the last election, 100,000 persons did not vote. As they did not vote party. They would have gotten at least 20 seats in parliament. We can't allow that did not vote party to dominate us again. They beat the EFC in the last elections. That just goes to show. We need every person to get out and vote. It is very important, extremely important. This is a time that we will not have again. David Granger may not be here in the next round. Muznagood may not be here in the next round. You do not know if there will be another coalition, another opportunity at coalescing. So we need to make it happen. No, it is our time.
James, last question. What is it about the coalition you know personally that you would like us to know in the diaspora?
The coalition has the best team to run Guyana. There's no political grouping in Guyana right now that the diaspora could feel comfortable that they could come back home, invest, retire. There's no other party that could give the diaspora that future. And I'm urging persons to believe in it. Give it some time to work, give it a few days, and help us to evolve. The diaspora have witnessed the coalition politics in England. We need to hear from you in England as to how you could have the coalition evolve into a successful partnership. And there are persons who are willing to listen and take your ideas on board. And I hope that they do so. I hope they support us in more ways than one.
My brother, once again, thank you.
Thank you, Selwyn.
It has been inspiring and informative, and I now see why so many believe that you're one of our potential presidential candidates of Guyana. I understand. Thank you. Keep up the good fight and keep preaching that nonviolence and urging our young people to channel their energy more productively and not in retaliation. It is very important, I heard Kathy Hughes mentioning this last night in Linden, that we do not get sidetracked and create any situation that might cause the government to postpone or cancel this election. So thank you for the work you're doing, my brother.
Thank you for having me, Colin.
You're welcome.
Marcelo.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.